France is burning. I'm afraid there's no other way to put it. Vehicles are being torched on the streets, barricades have been destroyed, shops have been stormed and looted. It's like one of those zombie movies. This is what Champs-Élysées looks like. It's the most famous avenue in Paris, but yesterday it was a semi-war zone. The place is crawling with cops in full riot gear. Some armored vehicles have also been deployed. The scene is no different elsewhere. In Lyon, in Marseille, in Angers. Put together, 45,000 police officers have been deployed, around 3,000 people have been arrested, and internet shutdown is likely. The French Home Ministry is circulating an order. It says internet will be curbed starting today. They say it will prevent the misuse of social media platforms, and thank God it's in Europe. If it was elsewhere, it would have been a human rights violation, but in France, it's a precaution. Over the weekend, the scenes were ugly. Entire residential apartments were set on fire. In Lyon, shops were looted and vandalized. The police responded with tear gas and batons. The images show you how serious things are and the sort of anger there is within the French society. Yesterday night, a mayor's house in Paris was attacked. A burning car rammed into the building. The mayor's wife and child were injured.
We are not asking for unanimity, but I would never have imagined my family would be threatened with death and that there would be an assassination attempt in this beautiful commune.
The question is, how long will this continue? It's been 5 nights of non-stop violence. It all started with the killing of 17-year-old Nahel Merzouk. He was of Algerian and Moroccan descent, and he was shot during a traffic stop. The incident has exposed France's deep-rooted racism, hence the violent reaction. Nahel's funeral was on Saturday. His grandmother later had a message for all the protesters. Stop the violence, she said. Listen to this.
I blame the police officer who killed my grandson. The people who are breaking things, I ask them, stop it. They are using my grandson as a pretext. No people, just stop it. They should stop. They should not break store windows and they should not be ransacking schools.
We know how these things pan out. Yes, Nahel was the trigger, but the issue goes beyond just one person or cop, like the George Floyd killing in the US. So how is President Macron planning to handle it? Well, he's cleared his schedule. The state visit to Germany has been cancelled for one. He's also met the top ministers in his government to take stock of the situation. On Tuesday, Macron will meet 220 mayors. All of them represent towns worst hit by the riots. So that's the tactical response. But what about the political one? Macron may have condemned the police shooting of Nahel, but look at his statements afterwards. He says the rioters are young and misguided. He also says video games are contributing to the violence. Perhaps both are true. But if he thinks Call of Duty is to blame for this, he's going to have a tough time. Because there is underlying anger and underlying racism. Whether Macron likes it or not, his country is deeply divided. Chances are those divisions have grown this weekend because rioting was the red line for most people. Listen to some of them.
Very glad it is calming down, and at the same time I'm not very happy about everything we've been through, because there are people, we don't know how they managed to get their cars, their store. Maybe they also took loans for what they had, and then all it takes is one night of trouble and they've lost everything. It's not their fault, everything that happened.
They're breaking things just to break things. They want to spread terror, attack elected officials and try to put the republic in danger. But I don't think they had their target on one particular individual or mayor.
This is arguably Macron's biggest test. He was voted to power as a centrist, as the man who would unite France and Europe. But now his own country is up in flames. So what will the president do next? We got a glimpse into his mindset during the pension protest. Massive outrage, but no U-turn. Macron stuck with the law despite the backlash. Will he do the same here? Well, looking at his track record, it's possible. Macron's policy on immigration and Islam has been controversial, also contradictory. He's talked about tackling radicalism, which is great, but his tactics are not helping. The French president says Islam as a religion is in crisis. Then he goes on to defend insults to the Prophet and cracks down on all mosques. Critics say this is a classic case of attacking Islam and not Islamic extremism. Plus, Macron seems disconnected with the ground reality. There are deep divisions in French society, fears about ethnic and demographic changes from migration. I'll give you an example. Some people have set up a fundraiser for the cop who shot Nahel. Think about that, a fundraiser for the man who may have started all of this. And guess how much money it's got? Almost €1 million. So don't think there is no counter sentiment. There are long-standing fears among the white population of France. As president, it is Macron's job to resolve them, to address these fears, to heal his country and his population. If not, this violence will keep flaring up. Macron could become the unique centrist who ended up dividing rather than uniting. Countries around the world are watching these events closely, including the Indian government. You see, Prime Minister Modi is expected to visit France next week. He is the chief guest for the Bastille Day event on the 14th of July. So far, there's been no change to the schedule, but a lot depends on how this week plays out. If the violence escalates again, all bets are off.